Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at the M12 fuel cutoff tool from Milwaukee. This is a 3-inch battery-powered tool with a brushless motor that I picked up recently from the Home Depot, not a sponsor. And so what we got here is a 12-volt battery-operated tool that is advertised to be able to cut basically tile, metal, drywall, and cement board. And so I picked this up for a couple of reasons. Number one, I was in need of, or I was wanting to at least get a cutoff tool, and I was thinking about getting a pneumatic one, but decided on this instead of the pneumatic versions, just because of the versatility being a battery tool rather than being tied to the compressor. And number two, for the, at least what I hope is going to be some of the extra versatility that I can get out of this saw that is not offered by a pneumatic tool. So it comes well packed, not a big deal, easy to open, and so we've got our tool. Also has a light, you're not going to find that on a pneumatic tool. And then we have our manuals. Nothing too special here, what you kind of expect. All the legal stuff they've got to give you to tell you not to be stupid. We've got a dust shoe, and it even comes with a cap if you're not going to use the dust port. Kind of an interesting, do we call that a feature? I don't know. I guess it helps to contain the dust if you're not using it. And then on the back here, we've got it's actually molded in here, a depth gauge. So you can set this to look at your depth of cut, and this looks like it is advertised as going up to just past ½ inch. At least with the guard on. You might be able to get a little bit deeper than that with the guard off. And then we get a selection of blades. And so the blades that this comes with, we have a regular, what I consider to be a regular abrasive cutoff wheel. We also have, this is metal, a multi-material diamond or carbide tip cutting blade. This is ideal for drywall or for cement board or hardy backer. And then we have a tile blade. And so most of your pneumatic tools don't come with this. They don't even come with this. They're only really useful for this. These are 3-inch with a 3/8 arbor size in the inside. But what I thought was interesting when I was at Home Depot looking at this, one thing that I could not find was where Home Depot actually had a rack full of these 3-inch accessories where I could pick up more of the consumables. I spoke with the sales associate first, and he said, that's interesting. Then he got his manager, and the manager said, I haven't had anybody ask about that. That's interesting. Now, I don't know if they were just playing dumb or they were playing whatever, trying to placate my concern, because I'd like to know that I've got ready access to be able to pick up extra of these wheels and not have to special order them in the event that I'm running out. Particularly cutoff wheels that, I mean, it's nice to have a stack of these around because you'll burn through these if you're doing a lot of cutting. And I'd like to have more than one, and I wasn't able to buy more than one at the store when I got the tool. And buying another tool kind of defeats the whole point of having the consumable. So I'm a little frustrated by that. Doing some digging, I was able to find, and we'll give this a test in just a moment, that apparently Dremel SawMax accessories are the same size. And those were available in store. And so if you look at the tool itself here, we've got a push button here for the blade change. And this is one of the other interesting features here is you can reverse the tool from front to, or going forwards to backwards, or just being, so in the middle there is off or locked. Push it there and you see the black bar is over the F for forward and reverse, and then on the guard shows us which way forward and reverse are, so you can control which way you're throwing sparks or dust or debris. So I thought that's really nice. And the other little quirk that I got, and I believe this is on through the end of November of this year, is if you buy the Bear tool, you actually get a free battery. So I thought that was nice. It's not their bigger XC battery. This is their compact red lithium battery. Still good enough. I'm not using this all day, but I'll definitely take the extra battery because that's worth about $60. And this tool is about 100 and I think I paid about 120 for it. All right, so to put the guard on, we can loosen the bolt here to drop that out. And then we should just be able to slide our tool in, and then it clips into place. This red button here allows us to remove the guard from the tool. So if I lock it up and I press the red button here, the tool can come out. So it's going to be important not to press that red button while it's operating. There we go. And the clear window here doesn't really come out. And then for the blade change, or adding the blade, it does come with the Allen key and the lock-on adapter. This is a different size one than what's on here, presumably for a different size arbor, or in case you lose it. We'll compare it here in just a moment. So here's what it comes with. This has a D on the side, and we'll see what this comes with here. Pressing the black button here on top, rotate it around. Let's see, which way does this go? This is a left-hand thread screw, so we're going righty-loosey. And comparing these, you can see there is a difference. That for thinner blades, we're going to use this. And for thicker blades, we're going to use this. It's a D-shaped arbor. And it does not appear that we can actually adjust which way the housing is here. So now let's take a look at this Dremel blade. That I got this for cutting wood. And it seems like if you look at the Dremel reviews, they indicate that the Dremel seems to cut wood pretty well. And so we'll see if this can cut wood at all. It's like one of the things I could see this being really handy for is being able to break down sheet goods at the store in the parking lot, because my local Menards, for example, does not actually break down sheet goods. So a couple little things here I can tell already. You can see the direction of travel here. We're going to want to get that lined up. So if I have the arrow rotating this way, that would mean the tool would need to be in reverse. So all the way over to the right to get the direction in the correct way. And then we'll drop in the correct arbor nut. That should center that. That actually feels like that's centering well and is not binding. So that's good. It looks like there's just barely enough clearance for that. Actually, let's look at this side by side with the other Milwaukee blades. Exactly the same at 3 inches, no question. Obviously on a blade like this, direction will matter. And so because this is a left-hand screw, we've got lefty-tighty. And then we've got this. So now with this, let's see what our depth of cut at the maximum could be with no guard on, or not guard, but the cutting shoe not on. And it looks like we're coming in at about 5/8, just a touch under 3/4, maybe just a slightly more than 5/8. So since 3/4 plywood is usually slightly undersized, it is not exactly 3/4. This might work for 3/4 plywood or something close. Upon some further investigation, it seems like this blade might be just a hair too thin for the tool, because even when I tighten this down, and I don't know if you can see this here, but the arbor sticks out proud of the bolt here by, I'm going to guess that's maybe about 3/1000, give or take. And so the arbor bolt does not actually able to press down on the collar. It's just pressing down on the arbor itself, and therefore allowing the blade to spin separately from the arbor rather than connecting it together the way that we would want. So now to fix the situation of the blade being too thin, we're going to take the backing adapter off and replace it with the other adapter that we had in the package. You notice that the other one is thicker. So now if we put this one on, and then our Dremel saw blade, and then the other side that has the circle on it to line up the blade, like that. Now, the adapter is sitting proud of the arbor, which is exactly how we want it. We'll put our hex bolt in. Remember, this is left-hand thread. So we're going to go lefty-tighty. And now I can't move the blade separate from the arbor, and that's exactly the way that I want this. So then the extra adapter here is going to be intended as a backing plate here for the thinner blades. So now if we take a battery, we put a battery in it. Look at that, we got the light. That makes me happy. And in this case here, I've got this lined up with the reverse. See the white there is in the R. The R is going to rotate towards me, which is going to be matching the direction on the blade. And since this is a wood cutting operation, direction does matter. And now let's pull the trigger and listen to the tool. Now let's try to cut some wood. I've got a piece of 1x material clamped to my workbench here, and I've got the blade all the way down, and you can see this 1x material. There's still just a little that it's not getting when this is going to cut it. Now obviously this is going to be thicker than plywood. So take that for what it's worth, and now let's at least give this a cut to see how this performs. It'd be nice if this went all the way through, but I think it'll still be interesting to see how this performs. And so there you go. It cut pretty well. You can see obviously it didn't go all the way through. I had it just consumed. This is obviously soft pine with no problem. Generated sawdust like you'd expect. I didn't have anything on the dust port. And so it definitely cut through it. So I'm very happy with that. So it looks like we can cut wood with the Dremel blade. Now if only they would actually come out with a carbide, or at least a more traditional type of wood cutting blade would be great. But this Dremel blade looks like it'll work and gives me a true multi-material saw, which makes me happy. Now let's try this again with the guard off and see if we can get all the way through. And now after trying with the guard off, or the shroud off, I still cannot get all the way through this. I can get closer, but I still can't get all the way through. So it'd be nice if Milwaukee would be able to thin down this area here, get a little bit closer if they could actually just make that flat. Like if you look at the Cobalt circular saw that does not use a full 7.5 inch blade, they actually flatten this up, or maybe it does use a 7.25 inch blade, but they made this flat to be able to eke out an extra 1/8 or 1/16 or I don't know, 1/8 inch or so, give or take. In this case, that would make all the difference in the world. You know, cut through 1x material with this tool, and then you'd have a really awesome saw. And so if you found this video useful and interesting, give this video a thumbs up, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you back here for another video. Bye.